Alton Coal Project was green-lighted by Governor Herbert within hours of a $10,000 donation from partners of Alton Coal Development. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, this mine has been proposed for many years, and they first had to get a permit from the Utah Division of Oil and Gas and Mining to start that small mine operation on private lands. And the state was doing their due diligence in terms of trying to determine whether or not this mine was going to be viable. And the company was getting impatient. They wanted their permits so they could start digging dirt and mining coal. And they suddenly showed up at Governor Gary Herbert's office in the fall of 2010 with $10,000 in their pocket and said, "Here you go, Governor Herbert, for your campaign re-election." And literally, you're right, within the 24 hours the next day, the permit was issued to the mining operation. Of course, the governor defends that and says there's no coincidence at all. I'm sorry, but I'm a fairly intelligent American. I just don't buy that. I mean, how can we believe that something like that is just coincidental? Money talks in this state, and that was clearly what was going on in a lot of people's minds across the state when that happened. And now we're seeing the effects from that nice little cozy relationship.
One last question, which was actually about a controversy that developed a few months ago. And that was ABC News had broke a story about a contribution to your campaign from Alton Coal Development. There's a controversy where whether or not a decision was fast-tracked, that a mine was approved near Panguitch. There's lots of residents that had expressed some severe opposition to that, given their concerns about coal. And you just mentioned that coal is still a very important part of the quiver of what we need to develop our energy.
It's an arrow in the quiver.
Yeah, an arrow in the quiver.
It's an important arrow.
But there was controversy in terms of how residents perceived that there were some people that labeled that an attempt at influence by Alton Coal. And it certainly has the appearance of seeming like a compromised decision. So that controversy, how can the public take your commitment and your involvement to things like the Clean Air Challenge or having this kind of multifaceted approach to energy seriously? I mean, does an incident like that, how does that affect your credibility? Isn't it on the line?
Well, I can tell you, the allegations in the story are distorted and not true. So, you can make accusations all that you want, but the facts are different. Alton Coal had their request for permits in for about 2.5 years and trying to get their permits. The only thing that happened was that they contacted me and the Department of Natural Resources and Oil, Gas, and Mining and said, "Hey, we would like to sit down with you and the governor because we've been waiting for a long, long time to get our permit. We've met every criteria that you've asked us to meet." And under the law, they believed they were entitled to a permit. That meeting was scheduled, it happened right here in this room. They came down, they sat, I sat at the end of the table. The people from Oil, Gas, and Mining talked to the Alton Coal people, who I wouldn't recognize if they walked in the door right here today. And they said, "We've reviewed your case, you have complied with the law, and we can probably have this permit for you in the next probably 60 to 90 days. They said, "That's acceptable to us." I said, "Well, looks like to me we've got an agreement here." And that was the end of the discussion. They had reviewed it before they came here and found that although they had up to, I think, 90 days, 120 days to complete the application and give the permit, that didn't mean they had to wait 90 to 120 days. And they'd met the criteria, and hence they were given the permit. Not only our director from the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining, but also the director, Mike Steyer from the Division of Natural Resources, said the decision to give them the permit happened based on the merits of the case, had even nothing to do with the fact that we had a meeting. Now, the allegation's been made that somehow, because a donation was given to my campaign, that there was some kind of quid pro quo. That's just absolutely, again, false. I didn't know that he'd given any money to my campaign.